Is that okay? That will just stay right there.
Jejak, Browning, Jejak, Browning Neddeau, Jejak Foundation, Nation Office Noswin, Marina, California, Dakbia, Neshje, Hollister, California, Idian, Badwa Miendao, Shishibendiak, Indibinagwes, Miigwech. Hello everybody, welcome inside, come on in. Looks like we have a lot of room left, so thank you. Come on in, find a seat on the floor, on a table,
Hang from the ceiling.
My name is Browning Neddeau. My Indian name is Panazwa. And my elders tell me that it's important to introduce yourself in your tribal language, so I try to do that every time that I possibly can. I am from Marina, California. I'm originally from Hollister, California, known for baling hay, even though if you go there now, it has a Target, a Safeway, and other big box stores, and you say hay baler to some people, and they're like, what is that? You live in Hollister, what the heck? That's our mascot, a hay baler. I'm Potawatomi, and we call ourselves the Shishibendiak Indibinagwes because we're called the Duck people in Potawatomi. So that's what that means. It's a Duck people and enrolled citizen Potawatomi Nation tribal member. Our title is, our title, because we're all going to be here today, right? Weaving together Native American studies and agriculture education in grades 3 to 5. The land that we're on is the Wabanaki Confederacy. So I think it's important to honor the land that we're on by acknowledging them. Is anybody from that tribe that'd like to speak before we begin? Okay. Shameless plug, because we're all about shameless plugging. Last year I did a presentation on art on ag labels. I did art on ag labels as my
Been using it all year.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. We're still working on a project to publish material for art on ag labels, but part of any publications that I do is all field-tested lesson plans, so we know that they're not just made by researchers and practical people and people that are in higher ed that are thinking things work and they don't really work. Because I'm in higher ed now, but before that I was a 4th grade teacher, an elementary school teacher. I've taught grades preschool through 12th grade and now credentials and undergrad and graduate school. So I really like the range of things. And someone was mentioning the other day, I said, it was my birthday the other day, and they said, you look young still. I was like, oh, thank you so much. And someone said, please continue to tell me that. I said, oh, okay, ask me that in like 10, 20 years still. And so I am passing out a flyer because we're looking for 4th and 5th grade teachers that are interested in piloting the material that we've created so far for the art on agricultural labels. It doesn't require any material from your students. We have IRB approval, so Institutional Review Board approval to do this research. And all you would do as a teacher would try them out and then give us feedback by the end of September. We'll probably have a Google form, and it'll just say your thoughts on the lesson plan, how it can better serve for teachers. So and if you're not a 4th or 5th grade teacher, you might know like 5 or 10 or 20 of them. So that would be awesome, because we're trying to make this a national thing, because they're going to be aligned to the agricultural literacy outcomes. And if you're a Common Core state, they're definitely aligned with Common Core and NGSS. So all those wonderful things, if your states are not any of those things, there has to be something that there's going to be alignment to, right, in there that you can find. My background is in Native American Studies, Arts Education, and Agriculture Education. So my through line of research is with student engagement in all those areries across the curriculum. And so I'm going to pass it, if you can take one and pass pass one out if you like, if you're interested in a flyer. If you are in the Western, I have invited 2 other researchers to join me in this project. So if you are in the Western states, if you're interested in this Ag and Art label project, if you can email me your interest. If you are in the Midwestern states, if you can email Shelly Mitchell, who's from Oklahoma, and she's at this conference. Oh yeah. And Jennifer Stiles Zurcher if you're in the Eastern states. And if you're not sure which states you're in, just like email any of us, but we're trying to divide and conquer, right? So for organization and planning purposes. Because there's a lot of research on agriculture labels, but not a lot of research on how to use the agriculture labels in your classroom. By a show of hands, who in here can name the land that you live on? Not the city, but which tribe's land that you live on. Raise your hand if you can name the tribe of the land that you live on. Okay, very good, thank you. Raise your hand if you have asked your students whose land they live on. Raise your hand if you ask your students whose land you lived on, or live on. Oh, okay. I'm not the one that has to survey the room, but it's good if everybody else goes, oh, okay. Okay, just looking around, okay. Now, the next question I'd like to ask is, who has told their students, not ask them, who's told their students whose land they live on? Okay. That's actually pretty exciting because that's a little bit more hands than I anticipated. So that's good. Now, I'd like to have a thought question, not something to answer out loud, but just to think about in your head. How do you honor the land that you are on? I live in Marina, California, which is on an old Army base. I live at CSU Monterey Bay, on CSU Monterey Bay's campus in the Fort Ord military base, a converted military base into a university. So I live in officer housing, so I have plenty of teacher storage, like everywhere. Extra rooms of teacher storage and all kinds of things. And when people ask where I live, and I say I live on Ohlone Coast and Esselen Nation land, they say, well, where is that? I said, oh, Fort Ord. They, oh, okay. I was like, oh, okay, but before it was Fort Ord, and still today, it's Ohlone Coast and Esselen Nation land. And I think that's important for people to realize that there is this land and it belongs to someone. And to honor that land, even if you're just mentioning the name of the land that you're on, but making sure that you're not saying the wrong land. For instance, there's a university that did an opening at their university and they invited the wrong tribe to do the opening. Oh, that was what I thought. So flash forward to 20-something years later, and they have yet to apologize to the tribe that they had invited the wrong tribe to open up their university. Oh. It's important to remember which land that you're on and to honor that land. And so this presentation is about different curriculum and how to teach Native American studies and agricultural education together in meaningful ways. But it also has to deal with how do you teach it in a culturally responsive way and a culturally appropriate way. This is a really interesting map that's available at native-land.ca. And if you go there, there's a little box that says to enter your city, state, and information or your territory, and it'll zoom in to wherever you are, and it'll tell you the land that you're on. It's pretty cool. So if you didn't know, you can look it up on this map right here. Now, I wouldn't always say just go to this map and that's the be-all, end-all answer. I would go there and use it as a reference point because there are some that are misleading or maybe incorrect, but it gives you a good starting point. So on this map, it says Wabanaki Confederacy. So Abenaki are the tribe for this area. But there are also federally recognized, non-federally recognized tribes, and some that are tribes that are recognized by their state. So those may not all be represented on this map. That's important to know as well. The Ohlone Coast and Esselen Nation is a non-federally recognized tribe, but does that make them less of a people? No, but sometimes people say, oh, well, the federally recognized tribe that's near us is blah, blah, blah. Or they say the tribe that's near us, and they think of the one that's federally recognized, but they forget about the other tribes for whatever reason that might be. Maybe they do not know about them. The history books maybe did not talk about them, which is all problems to think about when you're developing curriculum. Now, who in here teaches in K through 12? Okay, who in here does not teach in K through 12? All of us are very important people in telling these important stories, right? Because we all need to work together and to deliver these important messages in culturally responsive ways. So today, this is what was in the program, so you don't have to look down at the program. You can look up here. Unless you're falling asleep, look at the program and look back up. Okay. Real fast, like do this. Got it, okay. So towards the end of the lessons today, the presentation today, we'll actually be doing some talking through some and doing some lessons. It's going to be interesting because we have a lot of people in here, so you're going to know your neighbor. That's wonderful. If you don't already know them, you're going to know them by the end of today. We'll be doing some lessons. We'll be talking about Native American curriculum in schools. Now, who in here teaches in a grade where you are required to teach about Native American studies? Oh, very good. Okay, across the nation, we're seeing a movement of ethnic studies in our schools. In California, we just passed legislation that in 9th through 12th grade, you have to have ethnic studies curriculum. 9th through 12th grade, which means that it hopefully means that it'll trickle down, that is going to be required for the lower grades. So why not be proactive and then start doing it now if you aren't doing it? Is that the same for any other states in here? Represent that's required to do Native American studies or ethnic studies in your curriculum? And what states do we have? Yes.
Well, Oklahoma, I teach art, and there's a requirement in there to teach Native American history and culture.
Oh, very good. Thank you.
Iowa has it as well, no new social studies standards.
Very good.
It's in Alabama too.
Alabama. Nice.
Ohio.
Ohio. Very good. Yes.
Georgia.
Georgia.
Virginia.
Virginia.
And Maine.
Maine. So we're seeing this whole thing across the United States. It's amazing. I presented at a conference, international conference in Hawaii, and there were people from different countries there, which was wonderful, and they were saying it's required to talk about First Nations and indigenous people of their countries. I like that. It's wonderful to hear that in the curriculum. Now, they talk about it. Are they talking about it in the right tense, and are they talking about it correctly? Is a whole nother thing. Congratulations for implementing it into the classroom and having textbooks perhaps or support. But as we'll see, there might be some questions that might be if we have a critical eye when looking at those things. So we will look today at understanding the importance and value of agriculture in the daily life through the lens of Native American studies. Here's our agenda that we'll go through. Native American studies, changing the narrative. We will look at Native ways in agriculture, current agricultural projects in Native communities and resources for teachers. We'll do some hands-on lessons, and there'll be a video clip on seeds of our ancestors. We're going to look at a current 4th grade textbook, just the ones that were able to be copyright enough, because you can copy so many pages of a book before you get in trouble by the law. So as a higher ed person, we always are looking at that. How much of this textbook can we print and not get in trouble? No. So when we're looking at these pages, I'd like you to think of these questions. What do the photographs or illustrations tell the reader about Native Americans? The term artifact is used in the reading about Native Americans. What might a student infer from this reading? How can we, as educators, change the conversation about Native Americans in the curriculum? So let me show you what we'll be looking at today. That's my screen. That's what you'll be looking at today. That's beautiful. This happens the majority of the time in my classes where it doesn't show up. Okay. Just pretend it's up there. It's taking a moment. Yeah. Ooh, Oz. Okay. There we go. Okay. Okay, what is the first thing that we see on this chapter?
A long time ago.
Oh my gosh, chorus reading is amazing for good and bad things, right? A long time ago. So you open your textbook with your students and you go, okay, everybody point your finger on the top. Let's read together a long time ago. A long time ago. And they're like, oh my gosh, it's a great preface of what we're going to be studying about. So what does that tell the students? Oh, but it's okay, we're going to learn about it, and this is actually the entire unit about Native American studies that I'm going to show you right now. It's amazing. The highlighted words are words that the textbook did for us. Isn't it nice? Glaciers. I don't know why that's in there. Ancestors, that's a good word. Pretend like we're reading. Oh, we're reading. There I am. Just to confirm, right here, not here. There's my map. What's the next title that we see?
A New Way of Life.
Oh, thank you, colonizing. Okay. A new way of life. Okay. Surplus, that's an important word. Here I was last night for dinner. I'm so glad you didn't see me in that outfit. It was so embarrassing when it fell off. Oh my gosh. Poor guy. Oh, scared. Scared. Oh my gosh, we're teaching our fourth graders how to be scared of these darn things. Look at that. And to be scared that that's my outfit the next day. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, what are we doing? Okay, welcome, come on in. What's the next title we have?
The California Indians.
Oh, now we're very specific. A long time ago, glaciers, ancestors, and California Indians. Oh, thank God, I'm glad we're there. Okay, we made it. And the first sentence starts with?
About.
Okay, now boys and girls, remember about 4,000 years ago. Wow, that was a... Oh my gosh, you guys are so good. The publishers will be so excited. Oh my gosh. The word tribe. Let's look at this beautiful map that we have of this thing that shows, I don't know, maybe about a quarter of the tribes that exist in California. Oh, it's beautiful. But remember, when you're using this map, that you only talk about these tribes, the federally recognized tribes, because then you forget about all the other tribes that are on this map or should be on this map. Oh. Now you're gonna go back to those social studies and start ripping them. I didn't say that, and that's video recording, but not audio recording, so thank you. No, I'm just kidding. Culture. Okay. Learning from the past. Oh my gosh, I love this section because I wouldn't know what to do without this word, artifact. Oh my gosh. And I even made it go off the page, isn't that nice? Okay, artifact. And just to make sure that you're studying Native Americans, they have to put a cute little bird. And to make sure we understood about our Native American studies, they have to have this important photograph. What are they doing here? Excavating, because it was a... Oh my gosh! It's the end of the unit, and it's a long time ago, so let us put a picture that looks pretty old, by the way, in this photo. My sister is an archaeologist, so she would say, we still do this. We still do this work here. And it was a long time ago, and I've heard from elders in different tribes that the thing with archaeology and this whole thing about digging, and then for buildings, you know, when they have to do buildings, they have to dig, and they have archaeological surveyors out there. My sister is one of them. And they say, okay, now you're going to rebury them. Well, we had prayers and ceremony for burying. Has anybody had ceremony when you're burying? Or when someone passes away, do you have something that you do?
Yes.
Okay, how many people have had ceremony or services that you do when you're taking them back up? Anybody have one of those? Yeah, we don't either. Exhibit A. Asking people to rebury, which is an inappropriate thing, right? They are buried there and they have passed on, they've walked on, and now we're going to dig them up because it's of convenience. and that's a
No.
problem.
Not necessarily
So-
convenience.
Not necessarily all the time, right?
Right.
But-
I mean, there's a case in Pennsylvania right now. They were taking them out of Carlisle. They were in there, and they're going back to their tribal nations.
Yes, that's something totally separate, but
Yeah,
that's true.
totally.
Yes, they're doing that. Some people have buried them for multiple different reasons,
Yeah.
not from their tribe.
Right.
Like in the California mission system, they just put them in one spot. Now they're trying to move them back to their tribal land, so thank you for bringing that up here. And they have people like my sister, when they dig up the ground, they say, okay, now make sure that you take care. She's like, well, we don't really have this, but okay. Okay, work it best as we can. And then to end the chapter, we summarize that it was a long time ago, and we have some main ideas, and we have to use the word legend to make sure that it was a long time ago. Okay, and that is the end of your Native American Studies. Congratulations, go on to 5th grade. See you later. Okay. What do the photographs and illustrations tell us about the readers about Native Americans?
Long
Oh,
time
that
ago.
first title, huh? Long time ago. What else does that tell us?
They no longer exist.
Yeah.
They're extinct.
Oh,
Yeah.
artifact. The word artifact tells us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really have to learn about it, right? Because they're not here
It's
right
like
now.
digging up dinosaur bones.
Mhm.
You know, it's like
And students might think that too, like, this is so amazing. Oh, I wish I knew an Indian. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, but the new testing has brought a lot of that up too, because there's one that's Native, finds out they're Native American, but most of them are foreign, most of them are African or European or somewhere else. But there are several that have the ancestry with Native American too.
Yes.
So that's coming, it's in the discussion.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up too. And the federal government, Andrew Jackson, we call him in Native communities Bloody Bloody Andrew Jackson, because he started blood quantum. Who's heard of blood quantum? Okay, blood quantum, the really quick down and dirty version of blood quantum, is that the federal government recognizes you as being Native American, American Indian, Alaska Native, Indigenous, if you have 25% or more blood quantum. Otherwise, you're not Indian. So what happens if you have 24%? You're not Indian all of a sudden. Andrew Jackson wanted to make sure that Native Americans were extinct, like gone. So to do that, he implemented blood quantum long time ago. Now the federal government still follows blood quantum requirements. My tribe separated from, for all intents and purposes, from the Bureau of Indian Affairs. So we go by genealogy records. You have to show birth certificates and family members down the line. Because otherwise your tribe goes, what happens? Yep.
Yeah.
You know the song, 1 little, 2 little, 3 little. Oh, what happens at the end of the song? No Indians. That's what that song's about. But you know the song, my understanding of the song is it actually started with 1 little, 2 little, 3 little N word. Oh, it has a different meaning, right? But the sad thing about that, not only because of that part too, but we can not even say that word, N word, but we can, it's okay to say Indian, but replace it with any other group of people. Does that make it better, that song?
No.
One of my tribal members, her preschool daughter came home and was singing that song, and she's like, well, we have to have a talk. Oh, well, we're studying about Indians. And she's like, oh no, oh no. Oh no, 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 no. We have to have a talk.
Okay, so may I clarify?
Sure.
Are you saying that we shouldn't use the word Indian anymore at all? Because I know we teach a little bit about Christopher Columbus misnamed the Native Americans as Indians.
Some
But
people go
then-
by Indian, Native American, American Indian.
Right, but then throughout the rest of the year, we often divert back, or at least I do occasionally, and say Indian instead of Native American.
Mhm.
Should I not ever do that? I mean, is that inappropriate?
To me, that is not inappropriate, no. And in my
It's not
tribe, we say Potawatomi Neddeau, which means Potawatomi Indian.
Okay, so then what would be the problem with the song if that is the case?
The song is,
Is it because they disappear? Is that the problem?
Yes.
Okay, not that they were using the word Indian.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
What about the title is First Nation?
First Nation and Indigenous people, I think that's okay, but that's usually used in Canada.
And that was where I had first heard
Yeah, I
it,
was gonna
and
say-
I guess I felt that was more fitting, because we weren't giving the title of Native American, because we were the ones who
Right.
deemed this America.
Right.
So I felt First Nation kind of fit better.
That sounds, that's usually reserved for the people up in Canada, as far as what my understanding is of that, our Indigenous peoples. So
Thank
that's,
you.
yeah. So my work on this really started when one of my first teaching jobs after teaching preschool, which was actually my first teaching job. 2-year-olds that were supposed to be diaper trained that were not diaper trained. And so 14 of them, I think their parents said, "Oh, you're diaper trained." And I was like, Browning does not want to change 14 diapers the whole time. And I love to work with little young learners, but whoa, diaper changing. That's pretty stinky. So I quickly moved up the grades. And I received a position in 5th grade, where in California, 5th grade, you learn about Native Americans throughout the United States. I was like, this is so exciting, this is so great. Because in 3rd grade in California, you study local tribes. 4th grade, you study California becoming a state. And in 5th grade, you study all tribes. And imagine how they're going to do that, because they already missed a gazillion of them in
really.
California alone. So now we're going to do all of them.
Yeah.
Let's just miss even more. Okay, so in 5th grade, I was a new elementary school teacher. I was super excited, and one of my mentors told me, "Okay, you're not going to be good at everything." I said, "Well, thank you, yes I am." But thank you for the vote of confidence. But they said, focus on one subject area every year, and over time you'll develop all the subject areas, like your understanding and practice of all the subject areas. I said, okay, I'll try that. That sounds like a good idea. And I said, okay, but this year I'm going to study social studies, math, and science, and next year I'll do one other subject. He said, no, one a year. I said, okay, yes, social studies, math, and science, and then next year I'll do PE. So I was doing social studies, and like a good new teacher, I was reading from the social studies textbook. And I was like, okay, we're going to read about Native Americans. I was super jazzed because I'm Native American. I was like, this is going to be amazing.
And you read the book and you...
And I was like, and go! And we would read. And my student in the far back of the room, I still remember her name, and she's in college now, like college age. She raised her hand, she said, Mr. Neddeau! And I was like, well, flash forward a couple years, doctor, but thank you. No. Mr. Neddeau! And I said, yes. And she said, but all Indians are dead. And I was like, I'm just reading along with this book with them, and I had this moment of stop, cuss at yourself in the mind, not say it out loud.
Right.
And I just had to stop for a second. And she's like, kind of gave me this look, and I didn't know how to really process this information. I said, well, that's not right. I just looked back down at my book, and I said, that is not right. That is not right. And that was where I began this work. So that was over a decade ago. I've been doing this work, oh my God, longer than a decade ago. Let's just say decade ago. And I realized that what they were noticing was that everything was written in past tense. Oh my gosh. So it made sense that they thought everything was done already, which is no fault of the student. That's the art of the historians. How are you going to write history in some way that shows that the people are still here? So I was being a great teacher, and I thought, I'm going to bring in realia. Oh my gosh, I still do it. I still really do it. So I brought in pictures of my great-grandmother, my grandmother, and it was amazing. It was all black and white. It's fabulous. I showed them the photos. They're like, oh my gosh, you're Indian? And I said, yes! And they looked at these photos, they said, no, but that can't be true. You can't be Indian. I said, why not? I said, because that's your great-grandmother, your grandmother, and they're all, yes. It's like, no! No! We're alive, we're here. I brought in dead people just to show you that they've been here for a while. So then I realized I had to bring in me, and I had to bring in my things. And I was like, oh my gosh, let me bring in my dancer regalia and pictures of me. They're like, that's not you. I said, That's me. So I had to bring in things with me and bring it into present tense because I realized that I've been educated in this historical context of teaching past tense. And so I thought the best idea was to bring in my relatives who were past tense and to continue that narrative. Then I realized I need to help change that because I think other teachers are probably doing the same thing. And then lo and behold, after doing this research now for a very long time, they are doing the same thing. Actually, a couple months ago, someone had me come in because they found out that I was Native American. And I was like, oh, surprise, we're still here. And she said, great, that's wonderful. I'm teaching middle school. Can you please come in? Can you come in dressed like an Indian? It gets worse. Can you come in dressed like an Indian? And if you please teach my children how to sing a song like an Indian and dance like an Indian. Because what they're going to do is they're going to do a project on researching a tribe, and they're going to be responsible for dressing, dancing, and looking like an Indian. And I was like, oh my gosh, let me step back a minute, share this email with a bunch of people that I know, and then respond politely with about 5 or 7 paragraphs, maybe more. Culturally appropriate ways of doing things. I didn't really get a response back, but I felt fine. I felt fine. I said, thank you, how rude of you. Please educate yourself. That's really embarrassing.
It's really embarrassing.
You have a social studies credential, OMG. But I tried to be really PC about it and inform the person about cultural songs. There are songs and stories that are appropriate times that we tell them, and that not all Indians are the same. There are a bunch of different cultures and traditions. And to think that I'm going to come in dressed is really nice because I dress everywhere I go. So I knew what the person meant though. They were thinking I was, based on my past experience, that I was going to come in with a lot of feathers, and I was going to come in dancing and hooting and hollering or whatever, you know, and I was going to surprise them by coming dressed like this. And they'd be like, well, no, that's not what I wanted. And I was like, I know, but let me tell you. So with that, I'd like to share with you this video because this is of the local group here. Oh, the volume. 5 times and it works. No, it doesn't work. Go, 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 go. Where's the volume? Imagine.
No, it is.
Imagine, this is so beautiful. It's a video. I just noticed our timing. My God, where did our time go? Okay, let's just keep going. Video. This is the local tribal chairman right here. I wish that I had sound right now. I'm going to need sound for the end maybe. But he's talking about a new project that they've been working on. I have no idea where the sound is right now. Oh, yes.
Oh, so you can just put CC in there.
Oh.
There.
Okay. Cool. Okay, showing something. I'll just talk through this video at the moment. But what he's talking about is all these things that were in the past, and he is telling them that it's the most important lesson he wants people to take away from this event that they had was that they're still here, that their tribe is still here, and to please start talking about them as being here still. And the guy's like, oh, that's very insightful. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be presenting at the National Ag in the class. I'm bringing this video, and I'm going to use closed captioning so you can all read it. Oh my gosh. So everything worked out as planned. We watched this beautiful video. It was evidence that it's current, you know, okay. There's still, there it is. We're still here. Okay.
No, they keep putting P's in front of it.
Then I Pinterest you.
Paul.
Okay, that's a fun read for later on. Okay, if you're interested in looking about native agricultural projects that are underway in your area, This is the map. This is the website right here. This slide is available on the National Academic Classroom slides. But you go to this website and you can click on the little green dots there, and it'll tell you the link and a little project description of what they're doing of native agriculture in your area. It's amazing. This is all by the W.K. Kellogg Foundation's website. They are supporting a bunch of native agriculture. Any questions on this slide? Okay. communityfood.wkkf.org/food-projects. Once again, communityfood.wkkf.org/food-projects.
Could you tell us exactly, I mean, like, give us some idea of when you say food projects?
Yep, I'm going to show you some things, yeah. Wait, let me write it up real fast. Perfect. Okay. Here are a couple things that you might find on there. On this website, Indian Ag Link is a wonderful resource that does a bunch of different summer programs for teachers, and they do programs throughout the year. The Jejak Foundation is actually part of the Potawatomi. We have 9 bands of Potawatomi. This is one in Michigan. And they do seed stories and seed survival and seed sovereignty work. These are just a couple of the ones up here. If you click on some other links, you'll see that there are people that are, like, there's a Chia Foundation in Southern California, and they do food, like what the food is like for the different tribes down in Southern California, and they bring that to your classroom. They have a book, a cookbook. Might be something that you might find on that website as well. Okay. Yay! Lessons in 5 seconds. No, really fast. Jejak Family Farm. Richard Abbey is Assistant Potawatomi Nation tribal member. He's a tribal member of the band of Potawatomi that I belong to. His name is Richard Abbey. Jejak means new dirt in Potawatomi. So his love and passion is farming, agriculture, and what he does is he has invested in building a Potawatomi farm in California because we have wonderful climate for growing everything. Everything. Come to California. Taxes, expensive housing. Come to California. Come. Wonderful weather, taxes, housing. A lot of it. Expensive. So he grows wonderful things, and we pass them out to tribal members so they can continue growing things that are from our tribe. This is Sema. Sema is tobacco. This is what our Ojibwe tobacco. Ojibwe, Ottawa, and Potawatomi are the same group of people, same type of language.
Can you spell that?
Sema, S-E-M-A. That's Potawatomi for tobacco. S-E-M-A. This is what it looks like when it's dried out, and we use this for ceremony and all kinds of different things. I'm happy to pass around some of these items, but some of these items I'm not allowed to in case people enjoy them so much they take them, because we're not allowed to pass them to people that aren't tribal members. But I will share them so you can look at them up close, okay? I can't pass out tobacco, but I'll pass out the tobacco and seeds.
Question.
Yes.
So are these like similar products that every tribe would use, or is it just specific to like one
That's a
tribe?
good question.
Or?
So different. What is that?
Yeah.
There are tribes where it depends on the region of what kind of things they were doing for agriculture. And some tribes have women that were doing the agriculture, not the men doing the agriculture. Or some have the men that were doing the agriculture, not the women doing the agriculture. It depends on what the area was, what they were growing. This is red flint corn seeds, which makes like all kinds of fun, colorful thing. I can pass that around. And Potawatomi pole beans. I I can pass these around because no one can get into this bag. I will know. I will know.
Vacuum.
Gete Akasomen from 2017. This means old squash. This is amazing. I cannot pass this bag around because it's so amazing. No, I really cannot pass this bag around. But this Gete Akasomen is a huge seed, and it looks like, have you seen like medium-sized pumpkins? Imagine like 2 of them side by side. Okay, that's how big this squash becomes. So this squash is amazing because about 300 years ago, they thought it was extinct. So in Michigan, they were doing some excavation, surprise, and they found a little pot, and it had some seeds in it. So some tribal members said, "Oh, we're gonna try to grow that," and they did, and out came this squash. And they're like, "Oh my gosh, no one knew what that was." They're like, "What is this thing? We haven't seen this, and it's been written about a lot." So 300 years ago, they thought it was gone. Lo and behold, here it is. So what we're doing in our tribe Potawatomi is we're passing around the seeds and having Potawatomi tribal members grow them and pass them out to other tribal members. The problem is that we thought it was extinct 300 years ago, so what is the big problem? Restoration, and yes?
Cross-pollination.
That could be a problem too, yeah. But when you have a crop, grow it, that's a big problem. And then what to
prepare it.
Yes. Well, like, so we've had a lot of people grow this now, and then we look at it. And we're like, that looks like butternut squash-ish. I wonder if that would taste like that if we did that in the recipe. So we grow a lot of it. We pass out ones that are grown. We're like, here, take the seeds. And they say, what do we do with it? Pass the seeds out. Pass the seeds out. So that becomes a challenge. I'll pass you around so you can take a look at them closer.
So are the seeds stored in the seed bank for archives?
They've been passed. Oh, so
as I get it.
that's a good question. So the Jejak Foundation is a seed survival and seed sovereignty group that we have for Potawatomis, and they are documenting all seeds that Potawatomis use. And so they have archived all different types of seeds. That's just one of them. But they were the ones that started spreading that Gete Akasomen seed around. So the first lesson that I have, which I'm going to talk through, we were going to do, maybe we'll just talk a little bit about it together. Okay, so the creating a classroom cookbook may sound kind of silly, I suppose, but when I explain it, hopefully it sounds interesting. You'll try it out. So in multicultural classrooms, and in my classrooms, most of the students, their primary language is not English. And what I've done is I give them a 4x6 index card, and I have them go home and they have to talk with their family members and write down a recipe that they have been using in their family for a very long time. They have to take a picture of it after they've cooked it with their family, so whatever age, and they have to put it on the 4x6 card. Then I put all the 4x6 cards, and I put one of those binder rings, and I put it in the reading center of my classroom, and the students can read through the recipes, and I find many students actually copy down the recipes to take home and try with their family. It's amazing because you get a bunch of different things from like spring rolls to fancy rice dishes that I've never heard of, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna try all these recipes. And the students are excited because they've tried this with their family before. And has anybody done any kind of recipe where you learn by seeing someone in your family make it? Oh, look around, look at all those hands that are going up. Nice. So one of my cousins, he learned how to make pumpkin pie by watching his mother do it. She would never tell him the recipe, but she would make it in front of him. You know, like, this is what we're doing. And so after years of watching, he learned how to make pumpkin pie, and he continues that by making it for everybody in our family as we get together. So these cards are one way to document that and celebrate that in your classrooms through telling stories through food. So this storytelling. So I'd like you to take a moment and let's just turn and talk to someone near you about a recipe that you remember from your family, like something that comes up with you with food.
My grandmother made she never
I can have your attention, please? I did a bad teacher thing. I never gave an attention gain device, but that's okay because I have all of your attention. Oh my gosh. All you have to be is loud, right? Okay. The problem is when you go into a classroom and they're already loud, you're like, hello! You're like, okay. It doesn't work. Or if the teacher just always yells, that doesn't work either. You're like, okay, don't yell because you're already yelling. Okay. Okay, who, when they were thinking about their recipes, thought of a story that goes along with their recipe? Anybody else? Because I think I heard more than just, well, you put the rice and you put it with some butter. I heard more than that. I said, oh my gosh, I used it blah, 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 with blah, 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 blah. And then I'd forget one part because someone would come around and, oh, there's a secret recipe? A secret ingredient, you know? I was like, well, you just blew in that? I'm not going to eat that. Forget that. Okay. So, storytelling just through recipes, yes.
Am I allowed to smell it?
Yes, you can open the bag, yes, that's fine. Just please do not remove any items from the bags. I appreciate that. I have yet to be held up at the airport for carrying this around. So that's amazing, but I'm waiting for the moment to describe to them what this is so they can go, I don't get you. I say, I don't get you either. Okay, I'm just waiting for the day. Okay, I would like to share with you the origin of corn. For a second there, I thought I was going to walk off stage. I was going to get this. Okay. The origin of corn. I'm going to read to you from a book. Welcome. Do not fall asleep on me. My reading is just excellent. The origins of corn. This is from Spider Woman's Web. Spider Woman is very important in native cultures in different tribes. Not all tribes, but some tribes. This book is a combination of stories that are about powerful women. And I think that's an important story to tell, especially in this time. Powerful women. It's called Spider Woman's Web. Spider Woman is a very important person in many different tribes. And the other day, one of my friends, if you read about Spider Woman, has anybody heard of Spider Woman?
Well,
Okay.
DC.
Oh, not DC. Oh, there we go again. No, I was kidding. The real one. Okay. Spider Woman, my friend the other day was doing some sewing and then a spider fell on his head and he like smacked it. I was like, ooh. Okay. The origin of corn. This gentle tale from the Northeast shows a life-giving force within women. And I chose this tale because it's from this area. It shows that when a woman sets her own boundaries and maintains them, she unleashes a great positive force of nature. It also shows that transformations within a woman are both inevitable and startling, and that when a woman allows herself to be transformed, she benefits both the people she is connected to and all humankind. It's like, well, that sounds wonderful. I want to read this story, so I'm going to read it to you. Bear with me. Oh. A very long time ago. Soon after people were first created, a man moved far away from any other people. He had no fire, because he did not know about fire. He had no corn, because corn had not yet come into the world. All he had to eat were the natural foods in the forest: roots, bark, ground nuts, berries, and animal flesh. At first, the man was happy because he had plenty of food and a sturdy winter home and fine summer camps. But as time passed, the man began to feel sad because he was alone. He had no companion with whom to gather blueberries. He had no neighbors to whom to give the first kill of the season, no one to play handball with. There was no woman in his lodge to weave strips of basswood bark and into carrying bags. There were no children to delight in the sweetness of the sap that flowed from the maple tree. The man no longer felt like digging roots. He no longer felt like picking nuts or hunting. The syrup of the maple no longer tasted good to him. He didn't want to eat anything at all. Instead, he lay down in the sun and fell asleep. Like some people in here might be thinking about. For a long time, he lay there just dreaming. Then one day in his sleep, he sensed a presence close by, and he woke up badly frightened. When he opened his eyes, he saw a woman. She was unlike any other woman he had ever seen. Just imagine that. You're like, or a man or anything. She had long, silky hair that was golden and fair. When the woman spoke, her voice soothed him, and he stopped being frightened. Just looking at the woman, the man fell in love with her. He wanted to hunt moose and bring the meat and hide home to her. He wanted to shoot pigeons and smell the meat as she roasted those birds. He wanted to stay with her by the fire in the winter and lie with her at night. He asked the woman to come closer, but she refused. The man tried to approach the woman, but she pulled even farther away. Not wanting to frighten the woman off, he sat on the ground and sang her a song. He sang about his loneliness. He promised to trap beavers for her and otters. He begged her not to leave him. Well, finally, the woman said that if he would do exactly what she told him to do, she would stay with him always. Has anybody had that experience before? You said, always! Always. The man promised to obey. Does that ever happen? Okay. The woman took his hand and led him to a meadow where the grass was very dry. There she found 2 dry sticks and told him to rub them together quickly, holding them over the grass. The man did, and it set the grass on fire. The grass was so dry that the fire spread quickly, flying across the land as fast as an arrow, until the ground lay blackened and bare. When the sun goes down, you must take me by my hair and pull me across the ground, the woman told him. The man didn't want to, but she reminded him that he had promised to do exactly what she had said. If you don't, I will leave you. At that point, some of you were probably thinking, good. Well, he wanted her to stay more than anything else on earth. So that night, he twisted her long silken hair around his fist and dragged her across that charred meadow. When I read this at first, I was like, oh.
Yeah, really.
When he reached the other side, the woman disappeared. Now we learned a lesson from that one. Seeing this, that man collapsed. He felt angry and betrayed. He felt even more lonely than he had before. In sorrow, he fell into a deep sleep. When he awoke, he saw that everywhere that woman's body had touched, a green plant sprouted from the earth. The days passed and the plants grew tall and developed ears of corn. The golden tassels of the woman's hairs topped each of them. It was then that the man understood that the woman had done as she had promised. She had not left him at all. She had only changed her form. And to this very day, when people see the yellow silk of hair on the ears of the corn, they understand that Corn Woman has not forgotten them. So, oh! And good night! So in your classes, you could read about this story. In your work, you could read about stories that are from your area, including this one. And on the back of this book, after every story, it tells you how you can connect it to your own life and with a lesson plan idea in there. And I really liked one of them. I liked a lot of them, but one that's appropriate for younger learners, perhaps. And it says, find a comfortable place where you sit quietly for 30 minutes or more. Okay. Adjust the time accordingly. 5, 10 minutes, 2 minutes. Can you give me 2? They'll be like, that's good. That was really good. Okay. Close your eyes and go over some of the instances from our reading so far in which women or feminine power was a source of creation, corn, salvation, transformation, etc. Spider woman, the spirit of memory, the spirit of reason, thought woman, our mother, the wise old woman in the spring, the woman who resurrected the victims of cannibalism, White Star woman and her daughter, the woman who gave corn to the earth. As these names and stories pass in front of you, let your mind float. What positive feelings, memories, and images come to you? And you write them down. Make a painting, a song, or a poem using these images. If any negative feelings or associations come up for you, write these down too. 1 each on a small piece of paper. So you're getting little pieces of paper now, which is great if your students get all disorganized. Little piece of paper everywhere. And separate the scraps of paper into two piles. Those feelings and associations you're ready to put behind you, and those feelings you still need to work on or work through. Copy the ones from the second pile into a list, the ones you still need to work through, and write up a plan for working on them or working through these issues. Divide the plan into periods. What can you do in the next month? What can you do in the next year? What can you do in the next 5 years? And post them somewhere prominently to keep them in a journal. Put back the two piles together of negative associations and burn them. Imagine that you are burning the field, preparing for the birth of a new and transformed you. Now you can use like I do a lot of things in shell. Not inside your classroom, I don't think you want to do this because you might get in trouble, I don't know. You can burn it outside. And I think that could be really uplifting moment for your students. I see that I'm out of time, right? I'm sorry. I have one more lesson, but I can't go over that one. I'm sorry. Seeds of Our Ancestors. If you have time to look at this on Vimeo, it's youth telling the importance of teaching about agriculture and what it's done for Native youth to remember their ancestors. Seeds of Our Ancestors. It's about a 10-minute video. If you have any questions for me, I'm happy to take them as we're walking and collecting our things. If you're interested in staying in contact with me, because through times when I do different projects, I contact people. So if you're interested, I have a sign-up sheet. I also have a business card up here if you're interested in asking me questions about things. If you're interested in reading about Richard Abbey's work, who had the seeds farm, this is an article about him up here. I'll leave this up here if people can come on up if you're interested. And thank you very much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
I'm going to reach one more.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm very fortunate because we have a.
Wow, that was so interesting. It was. There were more times in our small town. They grew their morning house. They had Jordan and Jordan. Anyway, he was bigger. Readers. So it's something that I've been looking into. I don't know that I even did it and I've contacted them, but I haven't gotten a contact back. I need to reach out again. The other thing I'm looking at is a therapy doctor. I don't know that I'm going to train, but I like even better. You might teach me around. Yes, that would be great. Enjoy the rest of the time.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, go ahead.
Oops, so sorry. No worries. Again, that's the second time.
Okay, wonderful. Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, I have a question, but I don't. So I just don't know. And I tried to
That's all right. I'm just telling you guys. He copies those.
I was gonna grab my stuff. Try to get my name down. Yeah.
Is this coffee? I took a seat. That's fine. I saw a cup of coffee.
No.